Have you ever actually really stopped and asked yourself why you're doing all this? Why you wake up early, grind through the day, push past your limits, only to come home to a place where you feel barely noticed, barely wanted? Why you feel lonelier in your relationship than when you're alone? Now let me ask the hard question. What if the person you're working so hard to provide for is the same one quietly draining the life out of you? That might sound dramatic, but it's not. It's real. And it's happening to more men than you'd think. The reason you don't hear about it isn't because it's rare. It's because male pain isn't trendy. And calling out women for causing it? That's almost taboo. Philosopher Christina Hoff Sommers spent years analyzing how gender discourse is built. Her warning was simple but powerful. Our culture highlights female suffering while burying male pain. It's what she called selective empathy. We rush to feel for women. We hesitate, or outright refuse, to feel for men. But that ache in your chest, that exhaustion in your soul, it's real. That's not just stress. That could be emotional abuse. But here's the twist: most men never recognize it. Not because they're blind, but because the abuse doesn't look like what they've been told abuse is. It's not always yelling or hitting. Sometimes it's quiet. It's expectation without gratitude. It's criticism disguised as helpful feedback. It's control framed as concern. And because you've been taught, maybe by your parents, media, or society, that women are naturally nurturing, emotionally mature, incapable of real cruelty, you never even saw it coming. But you need to see it now. You might be thinking, this can't be me. I'm successful. I'm strong. I'm respected at work. But emotional abuse doesn't care how strong you look on the outside. It often targets men like you: driven, loyal, consistent, not to keep you at home, but to keep you overworking, overgiving, overcompensating, not for love, but for control. Because here's the truth. Some women don't want a partner. They want a resource, a provider, a workhorse who never complains and never slows down. And the hardest part to admit? She might not love you. She might love what you do for her. Some women use affection the same way a manipulator uses charm, not to connect, but to control. They don't throw punches. They throw guilt. They don't slap you. They go silent. And the world lets them. Because our storybook view of women says they're incapable of darkness. But that's just not true. There are men thousands living like emotional and financial slaves while thinking they're just doing their duty. And because they've been taught that this is what love looks like: constant giving, constant sacrificing, they don't even realize it's killing them. You've been told all your life that women are softer, kinder, morally superior. That's the lie that hides the abuse. Because the most dangerous weapon is always the one you're not watching for. Some women don't need to yell. They dominate with disapproval, with emotional coldness, with strategic withdrawal, with criticism that chips away at who you are until you start asking, am I even lovable? She might say, you're not doing enough when you're already working 60 hours a week. She might say, you're too emotional when you finally open up about your stress. She might say, be a man when you ask for support. That's not honesty. That's conditioning. It's programming you to respond to pain with silence, to meet rejection with effort, to treat your own needs like inconveniences. Christina Hoff Sommers called out this double standard years ago. We hold men morally accountable for everything, but women get a pass. Their cruelty is called empowerment. Their manipulation. Just being strong. You've probably seen it: a woman mocking her husband in public, cutting him down with jokes, withholding affection to get her way, spending freely while monitoring his wallet. And society laughs. She's feisty. She's abusive. This kind of woman doesn't isolate you by locking doors. She does it by draining your energy so thoroughly that you have nothing left for anyone else. She rewrites arguments, twists your words, makes you question your memory, your feelings, your sanity, until the only thing that feels safe is doing what she wants. And the cruel irony? The nicer you are, the worse it gets. Because she's not rewarding loyalty. She's weaponizing it. You've been trained, when she's cold, you give more. When she's angry, you apologize. When she's distant, you chase. Not because it works, but because you've forgotten how else to respond. This isn't love. This is emotional conditioning. Men rarely recognize this kind of abuse because it's buried in routines, in the unspoken rules of your relationship, in the way you've come to expect that peace only comes when you're quiet, when you're agreeable, when you're exhausted. If you walk on eggshells in your own house, that's not home. If you dread going back after work but can't say why, that's not love. If she dismisses your pain but demands your labor, that's not a partner. That's a parasite. And the most heartbreaking part? You've been told that your suffering is proof of your masculinity, that being a good man means enduring more, asking less, and breaking silently. But being used isn't a virtue. It's a warning sign. You're not her handyman. You're not her ATM. You're not her emotional punching bag. You are a human being who deserves care, rest, and reciprocity. If your relationship looks more like a transaction than a partnership, then it's time to see it for what it is. Some women don't want a teammate. They want control on their terms, with your paycheck and your silence. They want you obedient, tired, and too ashamed to admit what's happening. But here's the brutal truth. If you're giving everything, and she's giving nothing, no kindness, no warmth, no support, then this isn't a relationship. It's a contract you never signed, and one you're allowed to walk away from. If every conversation is a criticism, if every disagreement ends with you apologizing, if your needs are always the problem, this is not emotional immaturity. It's control, it's manipulation, it's abuse. She may not use her fists. She doesn't need to. She uses your duty, your loyalty, your masculinity, turning your strength into shackles. Christina Hoff Sommers warned us, when society treats women as morally untouchable, it makes it impossible to hold them accountable for their harm. We give them the benefit of the doubt, while we doubt men's pain by default. That's the hidden wear on your identity. This kind of abuse doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your sense of self. You stop being you. You become who she wants, quiet, compliant, broken. But you can reclaim yourself. It starts with truth, with seeing that this isn't normal, that this isn't just how women are, that your suffering matters. And if you're still trying to convince yourself it's not that bad, remember this. If you have to downplay your pain to stay, it's already too much. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not alone. You've just been told a lie. And now it's time to wake up. Because once you name what's happening, once you stop giving your life away to someone who doesn't value it, you take your power back. You are not here to serve until empty. You are here to live, to be respected, to be loved. And if no one's ever told you that, let this be the first time you hear it clearly and without condition. Like, share, and subscribe. Link in the description. Cheers.